Hi, so in this video I'll cover how to use our APIs. So we'll first go through some of the example repo that we have created, then we'll walk through some of the best practices, and finally walk you through some code on how to do this. So starting with some of the demos that we have built. So this is the doc that we'll share with you. So the first one is this simple course website. So this is a simple static page, and the second page here is the course website where the iframes have been embedded. So different iframe to create a course scenario where the first one would be a video of a particular course, and rest are the iframes here, and have simple navigation like next and previous. Now there is also an analysis page here which showcases how you could use our iframe to catch the transcript and all and do the analysis. For example, let me reduce this size a bit and join this scenario, and I'll just do a small exercise.
Good morning. I'm your morning reflection coach, here to guide you through a structured reflection exercise to help you gain insights and set a positive tone for the day.
Okay. Let's get started.
Great. Let's dive right in. To begin,
so I'll stop here. So once you stop, you'll see that there is an on stop event, and that triggers the session ID, and you can do fetch session ID details, and this triggers the data that we had. So you get the transcript content, you get the URL. We did not record the video, otherwise those will come. And the analyze session here will fetch the data from analysis. Because it was a very short exchange, so we did not do full analysis. So that's one simple application that we have built. It has a clerk login here built in, and we are using this data to populate this iframe so that we get even in if you see in the session, it's recording the email and the username. So that is going from the iframe, and I'll walk you through how it's happening. Now let me cover 5 things that would be important to build using our APIs. So first one is you should understand different iframe option that we offer. So if you go to any scenarios here from our page, for example, Kellogg page, and go to details, go to integrate. So we offer different iframe option. The first one is the full style, basic, and minimal. For full style, the transcription is there by default, but for basic and minimal, you have to enable transcript for us to record the conversation. And once you record the conversation, you could also then run session analysis and all. So for example, here when I start.
Good morning. I am here to conduct your MB.
So you see there was an event that this is a session ID and this is on stop event. So that's what we were using to create the analysis there. And we don't want this analysis frame there, but you could do that. And this takes to analysis page. But in your iframe case, likely the user will be not logged in, and this will not come. So that's the first one. The second one, and you could disable, is if you create a scenario where disable participant access is not given. So that we have written about it here, that you should click that disable participant access for scenarios in order to not render the analytics there. Now, this has a lot of options that you can choose from, but basic idea is that if you need recording and all other things, then go through the full iframe. Otherwise, pick basic and other. And one other thing is that, for example, if I go to any scenario and I go to configure, so you should disable this participant access, and that way we will not open an analysis page, and you could create analysis page on your side. So that's the first part. Make yourself aware of the different iframe option that we offer. The second part is that you could customize scenario as you create. So let's say I want to create a scenario where I want to create a difficult customer for my business. So in that case, once I'm creating the scenario, I can also go to this advanced mode. In this advanced mode, what happens is you get different options. For example, what should be the appearance, different voice option that you can pick from.
Hi, I'm Tough Tongue AI.
And you can add some avatar here that customizes the scenario for you. And then different conversation strategy, like do you want it to be talkative, like every time there is a silence for 300 milliseconds, the agent will take on its own to start the conversation. Or you could have conductor messages, for example, at 900 milliseconds, send message to end the call. So then it will try to end the call at that time. So once you create all these scenarios, you can also put the pricing that anyone who buys only can access it. That is ready to use. So then you have to figure out how to deliver this end-to-end experience, that is create a scenario, get the session associated with that scenario, and then make the analysis API call. So I'll walk you through what these calls that I'm talking about here means. Just a sec. So this is one of the example repo that I have added. So in this case, if you see there, I have added in APIs few components. So first component is the session call. So anytime a user completes a session, you get the session ID. That is when you enable transcription. So then you can call a get session from the session ID that gives you the session object. And how is the session object looks like? So we'll show you here. A session object looks like this, where there is an ID, scenario ID, name, transcript content, and all. And all of this is documented in our documentation. And if you go to API integration here, and you can go to get session details. So this is the API call that we make, which is get session details by session ID. So that's the first API call. Now the second API call that we were making there was analyze. So once you have the session, you could, for that particular session, make an analysis call. So we will use the transcript content to do some analysis. And this is this call here, analyze data. So this analyzes the data that has been recorded, and this gives in this form, like there'll be 2 report, evaluation and improvement, and these are the keys. So you can use this to render on your side, or you can just take the transcript content here and run analysis on your own. So that's the sort of fourth part, like how do you create the end-to-end experience. I think one critical aspect here that I wanted to ask to highlight is that you can record the user data in Iframe, and that is done via user info table. So I will go to the code here, and I'll go to analyze in app. I'll go to analysis, and if you go to tongue iframe here, so let me show you the iframe. So in this case, what we have done is that in the iframe, if you pass ampersand and then username and user email, we will record this email in the session object. So in this particular code base, and every time user logs in, we use the clerk's library to get the username and user info, and we pass that in the iframe, and that what's result in us recording this data. So for example, let's say you have the username in your database and user email. So every time you load the iframe, you could load it dynamically that you are passing us this info, and that's where your session information is richer. And then you can, let's say, query list session APIs and other. In that case, you can use this data. So I'll also show you here that we do provide option to filter via session ID. User email and all. So from the list of session for a scenario ID, we provide email option to filter. So let's say you have hundreds of users and you know the user email and you are passing this in every iframe. So that gives you a nice way to fetch for a particular session, a particular user, what is the session and what are the details. So that's the step number 4 to create all this user management. And the fifth one is that purchase and monetization. So we do offer option for you to put a price to a particular scenario that I walked you through. Let me do that again. So if you go to purchase, create scenario, you go to advanced. So you can make scenario paid and put a dollar amount here, or we support different currencies. So in that case, once you have, let's say, multiple SKUs, then you can also list different options here and see that which user has purchased what. So that way you could manage on your side which user should get access to what scenarios. So these are the 5 things, and we are already giving these repos as open source that you can use. Let us know if you have any questions. Thank you so much.